Alright, welcome back to some more easy blues harmonica, and today we're going to use the same Quist backing track, Super Slow Blues in G. Now there was a recent post on Modern Blues Harmonica saying like a slow blues was like the stairway to heaven of harmonica players. They actually said slow blues in E because E's the most sort of common key to play at open mics, super cool key for blues. And yeah, it is something you hear harps play a lot because bluntly it sounds good. Like they're nice tempos, they're easy to play. The only downside of them is, like if you're at an open mic and you hear 10 of them in a row, they can sound very similar. So this is where scales can come in and give us something like sort of different and very different to play. So what I wanted to do this time is instead of using our minor pentatonic or our blues scale, I was going to use the major pentatonic. That's like the my girl. Okay, so major pentatonic scale, we've done this one before. It's 2 draw, 3 draw double bend, 3 draw, 4 draw, 5 blow, and 6 blow. So it's a much more major sounding, which is a lot more sort of happier sounding scale. So it's an unusual choice for a slow blues, which is why I wanted to do it. And it's a good challenge to sort of like give yourself, and I actually do this occasionally, like I have a couple of really slow blues songs that I have written down, major pen, play sad. So even though the major pentatonic is a pretty scale, my focus is I want to sort of play it sad because it's a sad, slow blues. So I'll show you what I want to do. So I've got my backing track sort of set up here, and the other thing to sort of like to add to our challenge is we're only going to use 3 notes. So triangulation. This is Jason Ricky's method. He taught me triangulation, and like seriously, it is like the most mind-blowingly awesome thing I ever learnt out of like everything. Like I've learned off heaps of people, famous musicians, Abyssal courses, done heaps of jazz, done stuff at university. This stuff with triangulation just opened up the harp, because if you stick with just 3 notes, you've got a lot more options than you think you do. And yeah, so like I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So away we go, back in track. So immediately we've got a very different sounding slow blues. So what was I doing? I was using just 3 notes with 1 extra note right at the very end. So I was using 6 blow, 5 blow, and 4 draw. So on the harmonica, they lay out in a nice little triangle. Now, unlike last week where I just put the backing track on and sort of did what came to mind, this time I wanted to sort of challenge myself. So I actually have been playing this for a week. Yeah, this has been sort of fun to muck around with for me. And I had another good question last week. It's like, is there tab for what I'm doing here? And no, there's no tab. And the reason why there's no tab is it's actually the harder way, but I think it's better. So like basically like everybody on harmonica sites, like there's song tabs, there's tab everywhere. Really easy to sort of go out, get a song, get some tab, learn how to play the song. That isn't how people used to learn to play the songs. Like Buddy Guy told a story on stage, like, he went down to his very first music teacher, and the music teacher said, all right, here's the first book, I want you to learn this thing. And Buddy Guy says, no, I want to learn this. And out from behind his back, he pulled out a Muddy Waters record. And so the teacher put that record on, and he had to listen to it, and he said, Buddy, I don't think I can teach you how to play that. And so Buddy Guy, like a young teenage boy, said, well, I don't think I can take your class. And off Buddy went, because Buddy was learning from listening to the musicians. Actually, Buddy said, like, several decades later, that teacher called him up and wanted to talk to him, got over there and said, Buddy, I'm glad you didn't take my class. So the way that like most people learnt was from like listening to CDs, copy that CD, listen. Things changed a little bit when I grew up. Like I came up in the 70s and the 80s, so like all through my music education in school in the 80s, it was sheet music. Like I'm playing in bands, like we're reading sheet music, playing songs, reading sheet music, playing songs. I couldn't play without the sheet music. That was like the problem. So without something out there for me to read, I couldn't make any music. And my dad was the same. Like he played very well. He played saxophone, but he needed the music there to play. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to be like a real musician. Like I see those guys, they just get up on stage and they play. Like real example, like I'm up on stage, one of the guys that's like in the following act, we've sort of known each other, we've been to a few of the same sort of gigs, seen each other a few times. He said, hey, you want to play some harp on my song? It's an original song, only just written it, I've never heard it before. Like, what do? You don't want to be thinking about like, where's my tabs, where's my sheet music? You want to be able to rely on yourself. So maybe that's not the fastest way, well, it's definitely not the fastest way to learn, but it's what I want to try and give you guys, because I don't want you to be thinking, how did Mel play this? Or like, how was this done? Where's my thing? No, I want you to feel it. So what I did was when I was developing this was fairly simple. Like I said, Jason's method just used 3 notes. So the 3 notes use 6 blow, 5 blow, 4 draw. So there's heaps of stuff that we've got there. 6 blow, we've got the root of the 1 chord. Awesome. 4 draw, we've got the root of the 5 chord. Awesome. Where's the root of our 4 chord? Normally that's 4 blow, but that's not in the major pentatonic scale. So what do? Well, we've got 5 blow instead. And for the 4 chord, it's actually 4 blow, 5 blow, and 6 blow. Repeats all over the harmonica. So instead of using the root of the 4 chord, we've got the third of the 4 chords. That's an even more information in that. So we've got heaps of things to do. And all I'm doing in my brain, so I thought, how am I going to teach you guys this? I thought of 2 things. Basically, I just experimented with the notes. And then what I used to make this melody is I just said to myself, don't be on the note you want to use for the chord before you go to that chord. So for example, when the song starts, I go, and then the 4 chord, where we're going to use our 5 blow, I just want to be on a note that isn't 5 blow when that chord change comes up. So that gives me somewhere to change to. So I'm going to play basically the same sort of melody again, and have a listen for that. Have a listen that I'm only using those 3 notes, and I'm basically just trying to be on a different note and change onto the chord, because otherwise if the chord comes up I can't change. So kick it off again. Okay, so we've got to go back a tiny bit so we can hear where we come in. Okay, so this is the 4th, 11th bar. Okay, you can hear the turnaround here. Alright, so I've got that, this is a melody idea in my head, you'll hear the melody. I'm going to stop on that. So, 1 chord, 6 blow. Just a little melody. Just through those little triangle of 3 notes. So I've got that for 1, 2, 3, 4, bar, changes to the 4 chord. So all I need to do in my head is be on a different note so that I can move to 5 blow. So 1, 2, 3, 4. goes. So with just that restriction of the 3 notes and the idea of I want to just be on a different note so that I can hit the root note of the chord, or for the 4 chord, the 3rd of the chord, that's what I sort of wanted to do. So with that in mind, have a listen again. Oh, I've gone too far, too far. Always fun on these slow blues trying to get the right spot. Okay. Do. Cool. Now that was perfect. On that one, I didn't get the 5 chord correct, or like correct according to my method. Didn't really matter. Like, you know, if you don't panic, you just move around, shape out the chords. Any note will work. But having that sort of method there gives you something to aim for. Now, the other thing that you can do with this is, obviously, these notes repeat all over the harmonica. And this is another sort of like band story. When I was taught to play saxophone in like, you know, bands and orchestras and things like that, we were sort of taught to make every note sound the same, like, you know, use the same sort of dynamic range, nice sort of full and things. The notes on the instrument all actually sound different. So what I sort of mean is why they repeat all over the place is, all the same notes, like in terms of like music notes, but they all have like slightly different sort of sounds and feelings and expressions that you can convey. So again, I'm going to kick this one off again. Put the little one there. Alright, so I'm going to turn around. Here we go, let's have a listen to this one. Okay, so yeah, less of me playing in this lesson. We'll see how this one goes. I hope it's sort of conveying the idea. And like I said, I did spend a week doing this. So so another thing that, like, when Jason would teach me all these movable licks and triangle patterns and that, he'd always say, like, explore it, like, do different things to what I was doing. So I thought, yeah, okay, cool, this sounds good. This is the very first thing I'd do is, like, yeah, try and do something else. And it didn't sound horrible because, like, yeah, I spent a week sort of like picking out the notes that I sort of thought, oh yeah, this will make a nice little melody. It's like, And that's how I got like the one extra note. Like I thought, after using this triangle for like a 12 bar blues, like it's really sort of quite slow, I just wanted that, just that. That's the 2, that's like 6 draw. So that note there. Now the fun part is, even though they're the same notes, the patterns are slightly different all over the harps. You can sort of hear me stumble around a little bit sort of there. Again, explore, get out there and play around. So yeah, it's been sort of like a long lesson, this one. I don't want you guys to copy what I'm doing. I want you to sort of use the methods, because then it's just like it's you, it's what you're sort of feeling. So we're coming up, we've got our slow blues going to happen. I'm going to use our major pentatonic scale. Here's the turnaround, ready to play. Here we go. Nice. So yeah, slow blues, just 3 notes, one little extra note on the end there. Explore, get out there, have some fun.